Hi besties, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Susan and I post bookish lifestyle and other girly content, and today we are talking about the best season of the year, which is fall. So in my opinion, September, October, and November is the best time of the year for reading because there are just so many books in a variety of genres that have such a fall aesthetic. Like we have dark academia, we have thriller, we have fantasy, we have all these fall cozy rom-coms, horror books, and all of the Halloween books. So if you've been following me, you know that I tend to start a seasonal TBR every season. Am I the best at sticking with that? That's up in the air for now. But this fall, I really want to get to all of these books. That's obviously the goal of a fall TBR. And I also think a seasonal TBR is a lot easier to stick to than a monthly TBR. So when setting this TBR card up, I can't even like show the full thing in the frame. I tried to organize it by genre, but it's more just organized by the size of the book. I'm gonna move this little guy. So the books in the front are almost more fantasy books, and some of them are dark romance. First one we have is Encantra by Kaylee Smith. This is the second book to Phantasma, which I read last fall and last September, so I should probably read the sequel this September. I believe it came out in April, but I was saving it for September, October because look at this cover, that's Halloween. So this takes place at a cursed palace in Italy. It's an interconnected standalone with book one. So our female main character, she receives this invitation to Encantra, which is a deadly labyrinth where our male main character and his siblings are trapped in this deadly game. And there's fake marriage. I've heard really great things about this one. The first book, I believe I gave 3.75 stars. I liked it and I really liked the aesthetic. It felt so Haunted Mansion, but I just thought the pacing and plot got a little bit repetitive in book one, but I still overall enjoyed it. So can't wait to read this one. Then we have Vampires of El Norte. My best friend read this book last winter and she absolutely loved it. This author is new to me, but she writes historical fiction horror. I also thrifted this book for a few dollars, which was fantastic. So this is a supernatural western book with vampires. It takes place at the Texas-Mexico border in 1846, and it seems like they're haunted by vampires on the road to war, which this just seems so spooky. I love these sort of folktale horror books, plus vampires. Vampires are always excellent. And this author just released a new book, which I chose for one of my book of the month add-ons. So hopefully we'll be able to read both of her books. Then we have another fantasy. I've heard great reviews of this one. It is Blood Over Bright Haven. I need to take this Target sticker off, but I believe this has exceptional reviews on Goodreads. This is an adult dark fantasy. It says, the first woman ever admitted to a prestigious order of mages unravels a secret conspiracy that could forever change the practice of magic forever. Look at this map. So this has everything I need in a fall fantasy book because not only is it dark fantasy, but it also has the dark academia vibe because there's a magical academy. And this says it's a standalone, which I actually like sometimes because normally I'm more of a series girl, but then sometimes I want to read fantasy without having to commit to an entire series, so it's nice to have a standalone fantasy. Can't wait to read this. Then we have another fantasy. I think this one is more of a romantasy, but I'm not 100% sure. This is The Courting of Bristol Keats by Mary E. Pearson. First of all, look at these edges. That is just gorgeous. I love these edges. I think the sprayed edges work the best on hardback books that are fantasy. That is a whole different tangent I could go down, but anyway, I believe this is her adult fantasy debut. She wrote Dance of Thieves and then The Kiss of Deception. I love Dance of Thieves. It's the first book in the duology. It's great, especially if you like Six of Crows. It says dark fae, dangerous secrets, addictive romance. So our female main character, she begins to receive letters from an aunt that she's never heard of, which takes her to a whole different realm to find her father. So she journeys to a land of gods and fae and monsters, and there's a deadly bargain with a fae leader. Fae lore and going into the fae realm, that sort of hero's journey is always so appealing to me. I just like all the rules and lore that comes with the entering the fae realm. Plus the romantasy vibes are always working for me. Then just a regular fantasy slash historical fiction, we have The Stone Witch of Florence. This is a gorgeous cover. I absolutely love it. Also stunning. So this takes place in Italy in the 1300s during the Black Plague, and our female main character has this gift which is harnessing the hidden powers of gemstones so she can heal the sick. And then there's a bunch of conspiracies going on, and she's sent to track down a thief who's ransacking Florence, Italy's churches for priceless relics. I just love a historical fiction and fantasy blend, and we have the whole witch thing and the magic system with the gemstones. There's so many layers to that I just love. Then we have another adult romantasy. I wanted to read this last year, but I just didn't didn't get to it. The Coven by Harper L. Woods, another beautiful addition in another book where I neglected to take the Target sticker off. So our female main character, she was raised to seek revenge against the Coven. So her duty forces her to the secret town of Crystal Hollow and the prestigious university within that town where the witches learn to practice their magic. And there's ghosts, a mysterious headmaster, and there's secrets that are haunting the school about the school's history. So I feel like this is perfect when I want all of the spooky, gothic, witchy, dark academia vibes, but kind of want more of a romance sort of plot than just fantasy only. And then we have a dark romance. This is Nocticadia, I believe that's how you say it, by Carrie Lake. This is another book that I thrifted at Second and Charles. An adult dark romance, and this is long, but I've heard really good reviews of it. This is almost 700 pages, which seems very long for a book like this, but it's fine. We have more dark academia vibes. It takes place at a prestigious school nestled in a secluded island off the coast of Maine. So then our male main character is a pathologist who is known on the campus as Dr. Death. And again, there are secrets that are happening at the school as well. This seems almost more horror. I don't know if it's like super horror-y, but it has that sort of undertone. And this one seems pretty heavy on the romance, which I can't wait for. Then we have Hollow by Corinna Halley. I love her books. This, I believe, is sort of a loose retelling of Sleepy Hollow. Just this cover, perfect for Halloween. Don't know how it could get more Halloween than this. But I love this author's fantasy books. I've read some of her vampire books, and then I read one of her mermaid pirate books. It's super good if you like dark, spicy fantasy. So our female main character is about to attend Sleepy Hollow Institute, which again is a dark and shadowy and prestigious school. And then also at the same time, her childhood best friend went missing, but then he reappears at the university, but he doesn't remember at all what happened during the 4 years that he was gone. And again, there's mysterious things happening. There's a ghost, and then there's also a mysterious professor. So this one just sounds super intriguing. The mystery, the romance, the dark academia aesthetic. Cannot wait to read this one. And we have one that has been on my TBR for way too long. This one is a dark fantasy, Vicious by V.E. Schwab. Also, as a side note, Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, which is the author's recent release. That is the perfect fall book too. This is almost more of like fantasy, but it's also more sci-fi, but it's not like sci-fi as in like going to outer space. Basically, these two college roommates, they discover through a series of experiments and events that somebody under the right conditions could develop extraordinary abilities, and then their experiments and thesis based on that starts to go wrong. So like almost superhero adjacent. Then we have one that I bought moderately recently, Nightshade by Autumn Woods. Again, another book that takes place at an academy, but this one, the university is in the Scottish Highlands, and this one's more of a dark romance. So our female main character agrees to go to this school to investigate her parents' accidental death near the castle grounds, and then of course her prime suspect is the male main character. So this one sounds great. I have seen pretty good reviews of this as well. And a spicy dark romance, Dear Reader by Tate James. I read her Madison Kate series about a year ago and I really liked it, and I've heard this series is even better. Once again, prestigious university. And this is a wide choose romance. In this university, there's a secret society, it's college, and the only reason she goes to this school is because her stepbrother goes there, and then she keeps meeting all these men that are in this same like secret society. So quite excited to read this. Heartless Hunter, which is a YA fantasy. This one, I feel like everybody has already read this except for me, but I need to get on it. It's enemies to lovers when a witch and a witch hunter fall in love. This is the first book in the duology, and I've heard great things about it. I intentionally didn't read this like over the summer because the witch thing is just fall. So this takes place in the aftermath of a devastating revolutions where witches have been diminished from powerful rulers to outcasts. So our female main character has to hide the fact that she's a witch. Need to read this one so I can see what all the hype is about. Then I have 5 books that book publishers sent to me, so thank you so much to them. The first one was gifted to me by Harper Voyager. This is a horror book. It's The Starving Saints. I want to get a lot more into horror this fall, and gothic horror is perfect for that. So this says a transfixing fever dream of medieval medieval horror. So this castle has been under siege for 6 months, and then food is running low, there's no rescue, there's no way out. But then all of a sudden the castle stores are replenished, the sick are healed, and saints have arrived. And then these saviors, they trigger a series of events that cause basically madness in the castle. And then there's 3 female main characters who kind of are trying to get to the bottom of these new visitors and what is going on in this castle. This definitely sounds unlike anything I've read before, and I cannot wait. Thank you so much to Valentine PR for sending me Loving a Vampire is Total Chaos. This is like a rom-com slash mystery, which I love that blend of genres. So our female main character is a detective, and her newest case has been this case that nobody's been able to solve because our male main character definitely is a vampire, and he definitely probably is responsible. And then they come into contact and they're falling in love, but she's trying to solve the crimes, but he's the one who's committing the crimes. So such a fun rom-com genre blend. Then we have Pretty Girls. Thank you so much to William Morrow for sending me a copy of this one. This is a thriller. I've heard great reviews of this book, but I've also seen that you should definitely check the trigger warnings before reading, and it seems to lean more on the horror side of thriller. But this follows crimes that were committed in the past and in the present and seeing how they were connected. And there's quite dark twists, so I kind of want to go into this one not knowing that much about it. Honestly, I feel like that's honestly the way to approach thrillers, because then I can be thoroughly surprised. And then we have a duology that was sent to me by Epic Reads, so thank you so much. It is A Study in Drowning and A Theory of Dreaming. Again, more dark academia vibes. I absolutely love these covers. So this, our female main character, she's at her first term of college, and by chance she goes to her favorite author's estate and realizes that yes, he is in fact a fraud. So then she and the male main character look into the author's secrets at his very mysterious estate. So excited to read this. The dark academia vibes are perfect. Then we do have some just fun fall rom-coms, because who doesn't love that? We have Given Our History by Kristen J. Miller. This I bought last fall, and this is second chance romance. And I absolutely adore second chance romance, which I believe is such an unpopular opinion. This follows 2 history professors who get a second chance at love when the male main character starts teaching at the female main character's department. Just the cover of this is so fall. Then we have Fang Fiction, which is a rom-com with magical realism. So our female main character, she loves vampire novels, and then the villain of one of her favorite fantasy novels appears at her door, and only the female main character can help rescue him. So then now she's on a secret island surrounded by vampires, and she has to help the male main character out. I can't wait to read this because I love these books where your favorite fictional character comes to life. So fun. And we have Morbidly Yours. So our male main character, he can only inherit his family's undertaking business if he's married by his 35th birthday. And then our female main character, she has recently lost her husband. So then she moves to Ireland next to the funeral home, which is hopefully to be owned by our male main character. And then they fake date. So fun. So spooky. Love a rom-com. Cannot wait to read this one. I also like that this one has more of an emotional aspect as well, but still is a rom-com. Haunt Your Heart Out. This follows our male main character, who is a documentary filmmaker who looks into town's haunted landmarks. So small town romance, and our female main character lives in this town, and then they fall in love while he's filming his documentaries. I just like these cozy Hallmark movie type books. And finally, the last little section on here is the horror-ish slash thriller section. Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. So many people have said this one is amazing, and I can't wait to read it. She wrote A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, but this is an adult thriller. So on Halloween night, our female main character is attacked by an intruder, and she has a head injury, and within a week the injury will trigger an aneurysm. So then she has a week essentially to solve her own murder, which sounds incredible. And the Halloween element, I think Holly Jackson does a great job with pacing her thrillers and having twists that you don't see coming. And this one is more of a horror. Again, it's like a horror historical fiction, The Daughter of Dr. Moreau. So this is a reimagining of H.G. Wells's The Island of Dr. Moreau set against the backdrop of 19th century Mexico. So our female main character is a daughter of a researcher, and the researcher has created this group of part human, part animal monsters. So a little bit of Frank Frankenstein vibes. And then our male main character arrives at the estate, which causes a dangerous chain reaction. Cannot wait to read this. It sounds so good, especially with like the science fiction monstery elements. And then a horror. This is Blood on Her Tongue. So this takes place in the Netherlands in 1887. So our female main character, her twin sister, has this illness that is causing her to refuse to eat and just a bunch of other horror symptoms. So our female main character has to discover what is happening to her sister, and then the sister becomes angry and hungry, which sounds fantastic, and I love, again, the historical fiction setting. And finally, we have The Ghostwriter by Julie Clark. Our female main character is the ghostwriter, and she's hiding the fact that she's the only child of the one surviving sibling from this incident that happened in 1975. So she agrees to ghostwrite her father's book, but then it turns out her father is hiding a ton of secrets about what happened that night in 1975. This sounds incredible. I've heard this author's thrillers are really good, so I cannot wait to read this. So that was my fall TBR. As you can tell, we have a huge stack lined up. I'm really hoping, again, to get through all of these. Let me know if you want to see like a reading my fall TBR for a week video, because I think those are always so much fun to watch. But yeah, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what one of the books on your fall TBR is. Subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Goodreads for more reading updates. And I will see you next time. Bye.